Hi there, welcome back. It's Erica, and I'm so happy that you're gonna be joining me here again today. So, we will continue from the last video with the 100 Heads Portrait Challenge. This is gonna be my second time painting with gouache, when it comes to portraits at least. So, check these out. I found these clips that I'm so happy with. They're made of plastic, which makes them not stain the paper, because I don't like the metal ones since they leave on rust sometimes. So onto our heads. This time we're gonna be painting men. I'm really not confident when it comes to painting portraits. I'm quite excited, but at the same time, I'm very nervous. Painting men is also another weakness, so let's do it. Let's get out of my comfort zone and see how much I can improve. So as you can see here, I tried a different method of painting this time. I used a watered gouache shade and added my shading and lighting. And then that's when I started adding the darkest shades to mark where the darkest shades are from the lightest shades and so on and so forth. So when it comes to painting, I'm not the type who would usually sketch, but since I'm not comfortable with the medium yet, I would sketch things up first. That way I'm not gonna panic, because I'm usually the type who will just blob the paint on the paper and then figure things out from there. So habits are very hard to change, and as you can see here, I started reverting back to my old style where I would just put the colors on top of the other and try to blend things out. And this is the part where I started getting so frustrated because it's just not working. Which is why, as you can see, I am trying to cover things up because the lighting was no longer seen. So I think that's the beauty of gouache. You can make as much corrections because you can layer things up on top of the other. There are limitations, of course, but it's still a lot easier, for example, than watercolor. So here, I was just really trusting the process and hoping for the best that it will look better, because it's gonna be so sad if for my first painting it's not gonna work out. But thankfully, with faith, it started to look better and I was so much happier with how it's turning out. There's really an ugly face every time you paint. And like I said, the worse it looks sometimes, the better it's gonna turn out once you finish the painting. I'm also slowly getting used to the paper because Etcher Labs paper is just so thick and absorbs the water so fast. So I don't know how much water I should be putting to the gouache to keep that buttery consistency for certain shades to stay. But I know with time and with more practice, it'll get better, because this is definitely much better than the first three that I worked on. So for our second portrait, I needed a shade of purple, some sort of lilac, which is why I mixed my indigo with white to make that color. I don't have all the colors of gouache because one, it's so expensive, but what I realized is so long as you have the basic colors, you can mix things out. And that's what we're gonna be using for this guy over here. So I think he's Asian. He's a sumo wrestler. I got his image from Pinterest and I just found his face so interesting to paint and draw. I knew for a fact that it would be fun to add the cheeks and the chin and stuff, so let's get on with it. I chose green just for fun, to be honest. I was planning to use reds and greens for this one, but I think I scrapped that out later on because I just wanted to explore. I didn't want to set firm rules. So like the method that I used for the guy earlier, I did the same method. I kind of liked it. It's just that this time I was a little bit more careful where I would be putting the shadings and define my lighting. And thankfully, I think this time I was a lot more confident and I was happy with how I've set up the first wash. It definitely looks much better, as you can see. So yes, once I was happy with it, I started adding the paint. I wanted to see how the green will pop out or how the green will help the other colors that I'll be using pop out. Because Asian skin is relatively yellow, and with yellow there's a kind of hint of green to it to make it look more 3D, which is why I used green as my base for this one. And I am so happy I did because I was getting the right shades and it was looking much like the colors of the skin on the picture that I wanted to go for. After I'm happy with the basic values, that's when I start adding things to make it look better because the ugly face of gouache makes you feel discouraged. But I was quite breezy when I was painting this Japanese guy. And I think it was because I learned from the first painting and how I was so frustrated with like adding too much color. I think I was going too fast. But with this one, I was a little bit more relaxed and I think I was getting into the groove. And plus, it was so much easier to get the skin tone that I wanted. I'm very happy with how this one really turned out. And I'm so happy I'm finally able to do this spread thing with the sketch pads. So thank you so much at your labs for these sketch pads that you guys sent. So on to our final portrait for the day, but first, let's water down my gouache. I just used an old empty spray bottle with water and I added a little bit of alcohol to help with the prevention of molds on gouache because I use a mix of brands and there's one brand that's kind of honey based and it usually gets mold really fast, which is why the spray really helps. Well, slowing it down at least. I really love these clips. They're just so good. I'm hoping they would be fitting for all the other sketch pads as well. So on to our last painting. I'm just going with the same method from earlier, but this time using red. Because I pretty much used most primary colors. I want to see how red will work out when layering as well. It would be interesting to see. But this time I wanted to test how 2 shades of washes will work on the painting. I know for a fact that eventually I have to stylize my way of painting portraits. I think with time, as you know, I continue to practice, I'll find that stylized version that'll work out. I really love cubism and I want to find a way to make it still look realistic, but applying cubism when it comes to the application of colors. So we'll see where it goes, but for now we'll continue to practice. I've been tossing around with ideas of how to make these portraits more meaningful and interesting for me. And I have this idea of, I don't know if you guys are interested, but please comment down below if it's something you guys might be interested in. I was thinking of offering free portraits for anyone who is interested, provided that you will be sharing with me the story behind the portrait that you want me to paint, and I will be sharing it in this format. I created a dummy sign-up sheet below that I'll link up in this video. If you guys are interested, click it up and fill it up. Make sure you read it, and maybe we'll take it from there. I have a few friends who have already volunteered their stories, and I'm so excited to start on them. The first story will be coming from me, because I think it would be a good idea, of course, to set an example first, instead of, putting my friends' stories first. I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm not sure how I would be able to voice over that without crying. We'll see. Please bear with me. And I think that's the beauty of art, how it connects people, how it can convey emotion and maybe help with certain people's grief or anxiety, and how it has been therapeutic for me. So that's something I wanted to share, which is why I am starting on that project. So if any of you are interested, the link is below. Don't forget. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until next time.